I got a button. Pressing it would allow me to obtain $60 billion, but in exchange, I would be sent to take risks in a sadomasochistic novel. Come on, let's take a gamble. A flash of white light flickered, and I became the female protagonist of the sadomasochistic novel. I was physically and mentally tortured by the male protagonist and even got a terminal illness and died. You're telling me this is love? Later, the male protagonist knelt at my feet, crying, and asked me, "Have you ever loved me?" I wiped the tears that had flowed down to his chin and said, "How could I not love you? My $60 billion. If you got a button, and pressing it would give you $60 billion, but as the price, you would be sent to take risks in a sadomasochistic novel. What would you choose?" Obviously, my choice was to go all in and press the button all the way down. I had been the female protagonist of the sadomasochistic novel for half a year. But the male protagonist hadn't made his appearance yet. At the moment, I was still the much doted on daughter of a wealthy family. When the male protagonist showed up and we got married, my good days would come to an end. "Sarah, I heard that young Master Lucas has returned to the country." My best friend held her phone and cupped her face, looking full of longing. "In the future, you can finally say that all your hardships have paid off." Yes, everyone thought so. As long as Lucas returned to the country, it meant that all my hardships were over. We had been engaged since we were children, and everyone thought that I was waiting for him. It seemed that my life naturally needed a man to be complete. Not only did Lily think so, but also my personal system. That's right, I was bound to the $60 billion system. Only by completing all the tasks could I obtain $60 billion. The system was eager and said, "The male protagonist is about to come back soon. Do you know the plot I told you? We must make the male protagonist's favorability towards you reach 100, and make him love you so much that he can't live without you." In response to this, I could only remain silent. According to the plot of the novel, I would become a mute, allowing the male protagonist and his poor first love to bully me. In the face of the first love's frame up, I remained upright and refused to speak. The male protagonist loved and hated me. He insulted me crazily for the sake of his first love. When I died of a terminal illness, he would go and insult his first love crazily again, and my greatest revenge on the male protagonist was to hide my terminal illness and leave him alone in this world, feeling dejected and squandering money. It's hard to comment on this. I can only say that the spiritual victory method gets full marks, and a world where only I am hurt has been achieved. The moment I knew the plot, I had a full physical examination, started going to bed early and getting up early, exercised my body, and refused all bad habits. After all, the body is the foundation of revolution. I don't believe that if the male protagonist doesn't love me when I'm alive, he will suddenly wake up after I die. That's $60 billion. I must take all the initiative into my own hands. Just like the plot the system told me, the male protagonist Lucas returned to the country. He also brought a woman with him, his first love Jenny. At my birthday party, Lucas and Jenny attended together, completely ignoring the strange looks of others, making me the laughingstock in the circle. At this moment, Jenny had just gotten out of Lucas's car. In the novel, I should have bitten my lip, with tears in my eyes, and endured everything to gain Lucas's sympathy. But obviously, I didn't plan to do that. Lucas and I had a business marriage. My family background was even better than his to some extent. With such a background and conditions, I didn't need to use sympathy to achieve my goals at all. Under the inquiring gazes of all the guests, I gathered my shawl, put on a proper smile, and walked up to Lucas. "Lucas, long time no see. What gift did you bring me? If I'm not satisfied with your gift, I will be angry with you." As his fiancé, of course, I could ask him directly like this. As for Jenny beside him, I'm sorry. She didn't have the qualification to speak in such an occasion. Seeing my generous expression, Lucas was instead a bit embarrassed and quietly moved a little distance away from Jenny. "I've prepared it for you a long time ago, you little rascal." Lucas's gift was a diamond necklace that had been worn by a princess of country X. There was a pink diamond in the middle, which was unparalleled in the world, in the plot, because of Jenny. I felt so embarrassed that I didn't even give Lucas a chance to take out the gift. Later, this necklace became one of Jenny's collections. The necklace is innocent. Why should people give up the real benefits in front of them for something illusory? I tucked my hair behind my ear and smiled at Lucas. "Put it on for me." Lucas glanced at Jenny and hesitated for a moment. My smile remained, and I leaned close to his ear and whispered, "Lucas, don't be emotional. Everyone is watching." The bond between Lucas and me is not just about feelings, the deepest connection is actually the companies of our two families. We are a community of interests. Even if Lucas doesn't love me, I have 10,000 ways to make him unable to leave me. To please him is the least cost, effective choice. My intimate interaction with Lucas made Jenny's face turn pale. Perhaps, in her imagination, I should have cried helplessly. Watch them being intimate, and become the laughing stock of this party. She thought, well, but there are many more important relationships between people than love. The system was helpless. The AI couldn't understand the complex emotions of human beings. It mumbled all night. Then it found that Lucas's favorability towards me had increased from 60 to 65. Why, host, what did you do? I swirled the wine glass, looked at Jenny who was out of place in the corner of the party, and laughed softly. I just reminded Lucas that I'm not only his fiancé but also his business partner. I was just telling him that I'm not his appendage, and we have an equal cooperative relationship. You see, how insignificant love is in the measurement of value. Rather than showing my love for him, I prefer to let him understand my value. At the end of the corridor, Jenny was holding Lucas and crying softly. Sorry, Lucas. I didn't mean to. I'm just too sad. I know we've broken up. But I still wanted to see what your fiancé looks like. Sarah is very nice. If I also had such a good family background like hers, maybe we wouldn't have broken up. In the plot, after hearing this, I left dejectedly, but at this moment, I chose to come out from behind the door. The flustered person became Lucas. He pushed Jenny away suddenly and tried to explain the situation. However, I didn't question him about the reason. I just gave Jenny a disapproving glance. Miss Jenny, I've heard about you. You and Lucas once had a beautiful love affair, but now you've broken up after all. Today is my birthday, and as my fiancé's ex-girlfriend, you shouldn't have come to the party. The guests here are all old friends of my family, and my uncles have watched Lucas grow up. When you asked Lucas to bring you here, did you ever think about how others would look at him? If you're curious about me, there are many ways for us to meet. Why did you do this? Jenny frowned and opened her mouth to explain, but I didn't give her a chance. I continued to say to Lucas, Lucas, you didn't handle this matter well, and I'm very dissatisfied. You should know that my birthday party is not just about celebrating my birthday. Today is also the first time I'm introducing you to everyone since I came of age. Do I still need to explain to you what such an occasion means? You're not a child anymore. I will ask Uncle Lou to give my family an explanation for this matter. After saying that, I turned around and left directly. Lucas tried to stop me, but I stopped him. Okay, we still have more important things to do today. We can talk about some things privately. The system still didn't understand. Its electronic voice was full of confusion about human beings. Host, didn't you say that you can't use sympathy? Then why did you make it clear to Lucas? This is not using sympathy. It was Lucas who did something wrong, so it shouldn't be me who feels embarrassed. We have a business marriage. Whether he loves me or not is not important. What's important is whether he behaves appropriately. Lucas didn't handle this matter appropriately, but I handled it in a way that was in line with my status as Miss Sarah. So, naturally, it was him and Jenny who felt embarrassed with my status. Do I still need to care whether a man loves me or not? That's a bit ridiculous. Instead, Lucas should think about how to make me satisfied. After all, for a marriage partner like him, it's not that I can't find someone else. The day after the party ended, Lucas's father came to apologize in person. My father and I naturally didn't make things too difficult for him. After all I wanted was the attitude of the Lincoln family. As long as they showed me enough respect on the surface, it was enough. Host, by doing this, will Lucas fall in love with you? That's not important. There are many kinds of love. Rather than being Lucas's wife, I'd rather be his father. The plot of the sadomasochistic novel always revolves around the male and female protagonists and the female supporting character. In a luxury goods store, Jenny and I took a fancy to the same bag. The saleswoman said in a dilemma, "There's only one of this bag left in the store." Jenny's voice was gentle, but there was malice hidden in her eyes. "Miss Sarah, I took a fancy to it first." She pursed her lips and smiled. Lucas said he would give me a gift. I didn't expect to meet Miss Sarah. Do you think this bag suits me? This part wasn't in the plot. It seemed that the birthday party had stimulated Jenny a lot, and she had started to provoke me actively. I quietly said to the system in my heart, "Tell me, if I give her a slap now, what will Lucas do?" The system, "Please don't do that, I'm scared." Of course, I wouldn't lay a hand on Jenny. It was unnecessary. It's just a bag. I pointed at the bag, "Wrap it up for Miss Jenny and put it on my bill." The salesperson was relieved and quickly went to pack it. Jenny and I stood side by side in the store. Her eyes were slightly red, looking like she had been bullied. I smiled and shook my head. "Miss Jenny, you're not very smart." She was taken aback. "What do you mean, literally? What's the benefit of provoking me? Or do you think I will be shameless enough to go and make a scene with Lucas?" The logic of the female supporting character in the sadomasochistic novel is always hard to understand. She clearly only needs to win over the man, but she has to make things difficult for the female protagonist. Sometimes I really don't know where her malice comes from. "Are you laughing at me?" she asked me with her neck stuck out. I leaned close to her ear, and my voice was ambiguous and low. "I'm teaching you, my dear." Jenny jumped back as if electrocuted and frowned. "What do you mean?" I patted her shoulder and stuffed the bag handed over by the salesperson into her arms. "This is for you. I hope you are happy." The system was confused. "I don't quite understand you humans." I was organizing the file that my assistant had just sent me and didn't answer it immediately. The file was about Jenny. She was born to be a first love. Her parents favored sons over daughters. She received a good education but was dragged down by her family. She went abroad back then because her mother thought that Jenny was a valuable commodity and might be able to hook a better son in law abroad. Now she's back in the country because her younger brother fought and hurt someone, and her mother asked her to come back to bail him out. Putting these aside, Jenny is actually not bad. She has a good education, can take care of others, and knows how to read people's expressions. She has many paths to choose from. But she chose a path that seems simple but is actually the most insecure. Even when working, there are social insurances and housing funds. Falling in love with a man like Lucas mainly relies on generating electricity with love, with nothing else. The system, although I don't interfere with the host's behavior, I still want to remind you, host, you need to get Lucas's favorability to reach 100 in order to get the $60 billion bonus. I didn't answer the question directly. Can you detect who currently has the highest favorability towards me? The system was silent for a moment. It's Sarah's father. The original host was an only daughter. Her mother passed away early. Her father, although taciturn, loved her very much. Before getting married, she had always been a little princess. A girl who grew up in love sometimes loses herself. She yearns for a pure and flawless love and also has a heart to save others. In her eyes, Lucas needs her infinite tolerance and salvation. Obviously, Lucas doesn't deserve her love. You see, if I become Lucas's father, wouldn't the favorability be very high too? The system interrupted me. Physically, this assumption cannot be achieved. I waved my hand. It's just a metaphor. You don't understand. In our human world, besides biological fathers, there are also benefactors. If I grasp Lucas's lifeblood, won't he still have to kneel and call me his adoptive mother? Rather than Lucas finding someone else, I prefer him to be with Jenny. People with weaknesses are easier to control, and their relationship can keep me standing at the moral high ground all the time, making the Lincoln family unconditionally yield to me out of guilt. Everything can be priced, including feelings. The more important thing between Lucas and me is the commercial value behind us, which is the foundation of our bond. If the only bond between people is feelings, then this relationship is too easy to collapse. Women sometimes confuse interests with feelings, which is why their living space is invaded endlessly. When I start to rationally discuss interests, my status in Lucas's heart becomes even more important. It's like a drunk man only dares to be arrogant at home but never dares to raise his voice to his boss at the dinner table. If I'm just Lucas's wife, then my tolerance for him certainly won't earn his respect. There's nothing shameful about using one's background. In the arena of fame and fortune, it's like a fight with bayonets. Taking a step back is hurting oneself. A wealthy young lady sacrificing her dignity for love is not romantic at all. Lucas quickly got the news about what happened when I met Jenny in the luxury goods store. When he came to me trying to explain, I told him calmly, "You should give me the most basic respect. I don't want to have to say this for the third time. What do you think, Lucas?" There was a hint of unease on Lucas's face. "I'm sorry, I'll make things clear to Jenny." I neither agreed nor disagreed. I poured myself a cup of tea and left him standing there. In fact, men are really easy to understand. Being gentle and submissive to them all the time and being nice to them is simply meaningless. Will he cherish the love that he can get so easily? The best way to deal with them is a combination of the stick and the carrot. Are you still angry? Jenny has her difficulties. I handed him a cup of tea and interrupted him. "Have a taste." I just learned how to make tea. What do you think? Lucas pursed his lips and took a sip. It's good. Is that all? So perfunctory. I looked at him reproachfully. During the time since you came back, I've either been dealing with matters related to you and Jenny or listening to you talk about Jenny. Lucas, what on earth is going on with you? Lucas was taken aback. It seemed that he had never thought about this matter. At this moment, I was like a truly charming young lady. I leaned over and took his arm. You really make me sad. Today you must make me happy, or I'll really be angry. Lucas let out a long sigh and took the opportunity one gave him. He wasn't stupid and of course knew what to do. I'm at the young lady's service today. I'll do whatever you want until you're satisfied. Humph, get ready, I'm really hard to please. Lucas leaned against the back of the chair, his eyes and eyebrows smiling. To be fair, Lucas is really good looking. After all, he's the male protagonist of a romantic novel, with first-class looks. Chasing him, and if I succeed, I'll get $60 billion. There's no more profitable deal in the world. Lucas accompanied me tenderly for a whole day. His action of swiping the card was smooth and natural. I just gave up one bag, but in return, I got a profit dozens of times greater. To show his apology, Lucas also transferred a portion of the Lincoln family's shares to me in the prenuptial agreement. I pretended to be touched and hugged Lucas. Lucas, you really love me. You make me feel like I'm the most precious one. Thank you for your love. This is the best way to respond to a man like Lucas. Don't be overwhelmed by the favor. Instead, thank the other person for their love. I deserve your gifts, and I understand your thoughts. Lucas obviously liked this very much, and his favorability towards me increased by 5 points. 70, very good, victory is in sight. In the evening, Lucas and I watched the fireworks together on the private beach. The noble young master personally grilled meat for me, and I drank the red wine he prepared while encouraging him. The starry sea was vast, and the waves crashed against the rocks, making a pleasant sound. I sincerely sighed to the system. It's really great to be rich. The electronic voice of the system laughed in a somewhat eerie way. When you succeed, you'll be very rich. I asked the system if no one had ever successfully obtained the $60 billion bonus before. The system, no. After a moment, it agreed with me for the first time. Perhaps your handling method is correct. My previous hosts were all trying hard to make the male protagonist fall in love with them, but unfortunately, the male protagonist could never figure out his own heart. Only after the host died would the male protagonist's favorability soar. I smiled. Probably, what you can't get is the best. There's no way around it. Some people are just like that. They don't know how to cherish until they lose. And there aren't so many remedies for regret in the world. I posted the photos of today on my social media. Jenny didn't give a like, but I'm sure she saw them. Lucas hung up 3 calls with a flustered expression. Is there something wrong? Lucas shook his head. It's nothing. Even if there really is something, it's not as important as accompanying you. Tisk. In the plot, Sarah never heard Lucas say a few kind words even until she died. People are just masochistic sometimes. Lucas accompanied me until late at night and personally drove me home. Before I got out of the car, he asked me, Sarah, were you happy today? I smiled at him and asked back, what do you think? Before he could say anything else, I opened the car door and got out. Through the window, I said, don't ask me if I'm happy. Ask yourself instead. It was very late at night, but Sarah's father still wasn't asleep. He was holding a newspaper. I took a closer look and found that it was upside down. Sarah's father deliberately pretended to have just noticed me. You're back. Did you go out with that guy today? I nodded. Don't you already know that? Sarah's father coughed. Dad is just concerned about you. I walked over, sat beside him, and leaned my head on his shoulder. Dad, I want to manage the company. Sarah's father was taken aback. Did Lucas say that? I was surprised. What does he have to do with it? I want to do it myself. Sarah's father was puzzled. Didn't you always dislike company matters before and think they were troublesome? I sighed and looked at him seriously. Dad, I've thought it through. People still have to rely on themselves. According to Sarah's father's original plan, since his daughter didn't like managing the company, he would find her a capable husband, and she would still live a carefree life. Unfortunately, if a person can't control their own destiny, no matter how good the arrangement is, there will be changes. Sarah's father, of course, didn't pin all his hopes on Lucas. He had prepared a trust company and left a large sum of property, but these are all external things after all. If a woman can't walk independently, she will only be devoured by this era. Have you really thought it through? This isn't a trivial matter. once the arrow is shot, there's no turning back. Sarah, Dad hopes you can take responsibility for what you say. Of course, Dad, I want to take the helm of my own life. After learning that I started taking over the company's business, Lucas was a bit nervous. He had an inexplicable sense of panic, as if something had gotten out of control from then on. Lucas said half jokingly and half seriously, Sarah, are you planning to become a strong woman? Isn't that a good thing? We can combine our strengths. I smiled faintly. After all, I can't let all the burdens fall on you. Lucas had no reason to stop me, so he could only feel annoyed secretly. The system asked me, aren't you afraid that Lucas's favorability will decrease? I shrugged. If it decreases, I'll just raise it again. There are many things he doesn't want me to do. Sarah always went along with him, but what good end did she have? The system fell silent, as if it had disconnected. Of course, I had my reasons for doing this. In the plot, the Collins family encountered a severe business crisis that really hurt them. In the end, it was Lucas who came to their rescue, and the Collins family managed to survive. This was also the reason why Sarah was so devoted to Lucas. How could a little girl like Sarah not fall in love with someone who saved her from dire straits? Now I don't want to owe Lucas a favor. It's best to prevent problems before they occur. It would be even better if I could set a trap for Lucas and make him come and beg me. The crisis of the Collins family was simple. The capital chain broke. In the plot, it was just briefly mentioned. Sarah was muddle-headed and didn't even know where the company's problems were. After I took over a part of the business under Sarah's father's arrangement, I started to investigate. During this period, I wasn't idle either. I also went on occasional dates with Lucas and watched shows with him. The closer we got, the more restless Jenny became. She was trying to retain Lucas with their past. This was a bit stupid. The relationship between people can't withstand being squandered. If I were Jenny, I would try to get more benefits while Lucas hadn't completely given up on me and use him to get rid of the constraints of my original family. Unfortunately, she was still living in the past, in the middle of the night, like all the malicious female supporting characters. Jenny sent me a side profile photo of Lucas and then withdrew it. It seemed that Lucas was really not in a good mood today and went to her to pour out his grievances. I said to the system, she couldn't hold back anymore. The system asked me, but Lucas is with her. Aren't you angry? Why should I be angry? Lucas's favorability towards me has reached 77. Isn't this a betrayal? His betrayal was exactly what I expected. I was even worried that he wouldn't go. I ignored Jenny's provocation and focused on the company's affairs. Men may betray me, but my career won't. With money, what kind of man can't I have? Of course, when I'm not busy, I try to raise Lucas's favorability. That's my $60 billion. I can forget anyone but him. Lucas was trying to please both women, while I started representing Sarah's father to attend more business occasions. After making a name for myself, I'm not only the daughter of the Collins family but also Miss Collins, the new leader of the Collins family group. A capable father begets a capable daughter. The younger generation is really formidable. I heard that Miss Collins is engaged to the young master of the Lincoln family. Oh, Mr. Lincoln really has a good eye. If he hadn't taken the lead, I really wanted to introduce my son to Miss Collins, although there was some flattery involved. I earned all these with my own abilities. Respect and status have to be fought for through our own efforts. The system watched me put so much effort into managing the company and finally couldn't help but ask, Host, I think you actually have many ways to raise the favorability. Why did you choose this one? Based on rational analysis, this isn't the easiest way. I was silent for a moment and then asked back, if I leave this world, will Sarah come back? The system said, yes, when you complete the task and the world line changes. The original female protagonist will replace you and continue to live. I rubbed my temples and smiled softly, then consider it as me doing some good deeds for myself and giving Sarah a hand. The weak and naive little girl, after failing completely in love, thought that life was hopeless, and I hope that everything I do can tell her that a man's love is nothing. Our journey is the sea of stars. There are many things worth pursuing in life compared to love affairs. In the plot, neither Sarah's father nor Lucas ever thought about letting Sarah walk independently. This is also where Sarah's tragedy lies. Everyone, under the pretext of doing good for her, squeezed out all her living space. If you really love someone, you should prepare armor for her, give her weapons, and provide her with the ability to survive, instead of protecting her like a flower in a greenhouse. Even a little bit of the scorching sun will make her dehydrate and die. Under Sarah's father's intention to delegate power, I took over most of the business of the Collins family and also expanded several new business lines, making this old established enterprise look brand new and thriving, although the plot didn't describe it clearly. Based on my analysis over the past few days, the cause of the Collins family's near bankruptcy was the auction of a piece of land in the west of the city. Sarah's father was very interested in this piece of land and also discussed the plan with me. I think this area will be the future city center. If we can get the management rights here, we won't have to worry for the next 10 years, but I poured cold water on him. If we bid for it, our working capital will be very tight. And, Dad, are you so sure that this place will definitely develop? Sarah's father frowned slightly. I've looked at the city planning. Here, this place is far from any villages or towns. Even if it does develop, it will require a large investment of manpower, material resources, and time. Of course, we can spend money to buy a future, but Dad, I pointed at the map, if it's really as you said, then shouldn't the new line be built in this area? Sarah's father was taken aback, and then his expression changed. Obviously, he hadn't thought of this. After a long silence, he stood up, patted my shoulder, and there was a hint of moisture in his eyes. Sarah, you're really good now. Your mother can rest in peace. I hugged him and silently sighed in my heart. Sarah's father was a traditional father. It wasn't that he didn't love Sarah, but he had never thought about letting Sarah take on responsibilities independently before. Although the silent fatherly love can shield her from wind and rain, it also made Sarah vulnerable and sensitive. Sarah's father asked me, the Lincoln family also seems to be interested in this piece of land. In the plot, the male protagonist had immunity. So in the end, this piece of land with big potential problems was bid for by the Collins family. But if I give up the right to bid, will Lucas still be so lucky? I pressed on the map and smiled at Sarah's father. Dad, talking about business in a business context, whether the Lincoln family can figure it out is their business. Sarah's father was taken aback and then smiled and shook his head. Don't you regret it? What's there to regret? I really hope that Lucas will go bankrupt immediately. And then I can become the goddess who saves him and make him kneel and call me his adoptive mother. At my request, the Collins family still prepared a plan and pretended to participate in the auction. When we met on the weekend, Lucas asked me half-jokingly, Sarah, you're going to be my competitor this time. I raised my eyebrows and looked at him. What? Is young Master Lou scared? Oh, you're very confident. Fair competition. The main thing is confidence. Lucas clapped for me. You have ambition, don't cry and beg me to show mercy then. I curled my lips. It's not certain who will cry yet. Just like the Collins family in the plot couldn't afford this piece of land, Lucas couldn't either, but I hope he can buy it. In this way, I can appear in Lucas's life as a savior, just like he did to Sarah. The system helped me monitor the dynamics of Lucas and Jenny. While I was developing new projects and working late into the night, Lucas was celebrating Jenny's birthday. Jenny's provocations never stopped, but Lucas's favorability towards me never decreased either. Why is Lucas's favorability towards you as high as 80, yet he still takes care of Jenny behind your back? As an AI, the system couldn't understand Lucas's behavior, but it wasn't complicated. Just because I like eating apples doesn't mean I'll never eat bananas. In Lucas's world, Sarah and Jenny are just like apples and bananas. They don't have independent personalities and are just his appendages. At this moment, his favorability towards me is higher than that towards Jenny just because I'm more sensible and my identity is more valuable. Just like in the plot, after he took over the Collins family, Sarah lost her added value and could be toyed with at will. Putting all hopes on a man is the stupidest decision, so from the very beginning, I didn't see Jenny as a rival. It's not her who determines the level of Lucas's favorability towards me. Without Jenny, there will be other Jennys, likely Jenny or Wang Jenny. Although we always look forward to unique love, we have to admit that human feelings don't have exclusivity. Even if Lucas and I were standing on the deck of the Titanic and singing, "My heart will go on," together, this oath would only be valid at that moment. Nothing stays the same forever, including love, not to mention this kind of impure love. In the coffee shop, Jenny sat across from me. Her expression was feigning calmness, but the emotions in her eyes betrayed her current mood. She was very nervous. Jenny tried to sound relaxed. You clearly know everything. Why are you still holding on to Lucas? He doesn't love you at all. I casually stirred the coffee on the table, and there was even a hint of a smile on my face. How do you know Lucas doesn't love me, Miss Jenny? We are fiancés. It doesn't seem to be your place to judge. Jenny raised her head, as if she could find confidence that way. The memories between Lucas and me are something you can never interfere with. Is that so? I leaned forward slightly, staring intently into Jenny's eyes, adopting an offensive posture. Then, will Lucas marry you? You married him because of your family background. What's so remarkable about that? I tilted my head to look at her and showed a bit of confusion at the right moment. Is my family so powerful that it can cover the sky with one hand? Did my father force Lucas to marry me? Did Lucas ever oppose our engagement? None of these things happened. After all, it's because Lucas was willing, leaving aside who he loves. At least he loves money more than he loves you. What do you mean? I smiled and leaned back to a safe distance. I said you're not very smart, but you're not completely hopelessly stupid either. Don't be in a hurry to get angry. Listen to me first. I've investigated you. You studied under Master Jeff and have done a lot of research in the field of electrochemical new energy. I've read the papers you published, and they are very insightful. You couldn't have written them without spending a lot of time in the laboratory. I looked at Jenny. So, why didn't you continue your further studies? Jenny was taken aback. Her expression lost control for a moment, and then she smiled self-deprecatingly. What's so interesting about electrochemistry? No matter how well I do in the experiments, it can't save my younger brother. I waved my hand. Forgive me for being blunt, but your younger brother deserved what he got. Jenny's eyes were sharp, as if there was a fire burning in them. Of course, it's easy for you to say. If you were in my place, you might not have done any better. If you weren't born into the Collins family and were like me, with unreliable parents and a younger brother who causes trouble everywhere, what would you do? Once the psychological defenses were broken, a lot of words naturally poured out. I only have Lucas. You have everything. Why are you still competing with me for him? I smiled and shook my head. Lucas was never yours. He never intended to marry you, did he? Do you want me to give up? I shook my head again. Of course not. I just want to say that you have many choices besides Lucas. I'm very interested in your research project. If you're willing to continue, I can provide support for you. I told Jenny that we didn't have to be on opposite sides. After all, even if one of us withdraws from the battlefield, it doesn't mean victory. A woman's spoils of war shouldn't be just winning a man's love. Even if I don't marry Lucas, will he marry you? The next person he's with might not be as easy to talk to as me, allowing you to provoke her and never fighting back. Jenny was stunned for a long time. I didn't pressure her. I just told her that if she thought it through, she could come to the Collins family to find me. I can not only support your experiments but also help you get away from your vampire-like parents. This is a deal where you're sure to profit, isn't it? On the way back, the system asked me, host, why do you insist on having Jenny work for you? Her scientific research ability is indeed good, but you might be able to find someone better than her. Because she's the female supporting character. If I just wanted to get the $6 billion, I could complete the task quickly in many ways. It's just that I want to help some people I want to help within my ability. As the female supporting character in a sadomasochistic novel, Jenny knew Lucas had a fiancé but still got involved with him. Was vain, and later framed the female protagonist to get ahead, but she's not beyond redemption. She just doesn't know how to walk this path on her own. People always give bad boys the greatest tolerance, expecting them to turn over a new leaf, but they are terribly stingy when it comes to girls who take the wrong path. But who says a woman can never make mistakes in her life? I gave Jenny a choice beyond her current vision. Whether she's willing to take it is another matter. I just want to have a clear conscience when I do things. In the evening, I received a WeChat message from Jenny. I want to give it a try. I can't guarantee that I can make money for you, even if you become my boss. I won't give up on Lucas. It doesn't matter. Recovering from an emotional injury is like getting rid of an illness slowly. I never expected someone with a love-obsessed mindset to get better overnight. Host. Did you want to keep Jenny busy so that she has no time to compete with you for the male protagonist? Life is dull, and the AI comments on humans. I said the AI can't replace humans. What's Lucas's favorability towards me now? 83. According to my understanding of human emotions, this is the kind of favorability that only exists between very affectionate couples. It shows that love is inherently unreliable. The auction proceeded as planned. Lucas and I bid twice. And then I smiled and let him have it. Lucas was very happy. After the auction ended, he said to me with a moved expression, Sarah, I will always remember your kindness. I actually felt like laughing inappropriately. In the plot, Sarah took meticulous care of him, and he took it for granted. But now, when I set a trap for him, he's deeply grateful. I went to the laboratory of the new project to meet Jenny. She was wearing a lab coat, blue plastic gloves. And her long hair was tied into a low ponytail. This was the first time I saw her with no makeup on and working seriously. When she saw me, she stopped what she was doing. Here to check the progress. Here to see you. Go ahead and look. Jenny's phone, which was placed aside, rang. A message from Lucas popped up, but she didn't look at it. The system said that Jenny had hardly met with Lucas recently. This was also normal. Anyone who has done experiments for more than 10 hours wouldn't have the mood to deal with a man. If they did, it just means they're not busy enough. During the time Jenny worked for me, I also started dealing with her parents and younger brother. I staged a play with her. We made Jenny's parents think that she had offended me, a wealthy young lady with a gangster background. They immediately cut off their parent-child relationship with her, before leaving. They even extorted a sum of money from her, saying it was for her younger brother's security. That day, Jenny and I sat in the coffee shop downstairs of the company for a long time. I didn't expect it would be so easy to get rid of them. I was like a malicious female supporting character. Yeah, it's very easy, right? It's a bit troublesome for you, but for me and Lucas, it's just a matter of saying a word. I leaned slightly closer to her and spoke softly and quietly. Tell me. Why has he never helped you deal with them? Lucas had 10,000 ways to help Jenny get rid of her vampire-like parents, but he chose the simplest way, giving them money. The system asked me the reason. It had become very curious recently. In fact, it's just because money is the least important thing to Lucas. As long as Jenny can never get rid of her parents' control, she will always be in need of Lucas. It's a sure profit for him. The system was silent for a moment. I agree with your point of view. The male protagonist's behavior is very immoral. I smiled. You're talking about morality with the male protagonist of a sadomasochistic novel. Jenny began to doubt Lucas's feelings for her for the first time. After thinking for a long time, she asked Lucas out. She asked Lucas, what exactly is our relationship now? But Lucas refused to answer her directly. They went on dates, held hands, and hugged, just like a pair of intimate lovers. But Lucas would never admit this relationship. Don't ask. If you ask, they're just friends. Lucas was like this in the plot too. He did all sorts of ambiguous things, making Sarah sad and making Jenny become the other woman for love. But in the end, neither the female protagonist nor the female supporting character had a good ending. If Lucas was really like what was described in the plot, just not recognizing his own heart, he shouldn't have done things like this. He was just enjoying the competition between the two women for him. In the end, when Sarah died of a terminal illness, he even shifted the blame to Jenny. He didn't even think about who gave Jenny the opportunity to provoke Sarah again and again. Do you still love me? Lucas was silent for a long time. Jenny, I'm engaged. You know I can't break off the engagement. Then what should I do? Be more sensible. Okay, be more sensible. Sarah in the plot had also heard these words many times. Jenny drank some wine and was blowing the wind on the company's rooftop. You're right, Lucas doesn't love me. You won. I couldn't help but laugh. Won what? Lucas's love. It's worthless to me. In my mind, the system was reminding me that Lucas's favorability towards me had dropped to 79. The system's voice was full of confusion. Why did the favorability drop? Why, of course. It's because Lucas transferred the blame for Jenny's departure to me, in his heart. He broke up with Jenny because of me. It really moved him. It's okay, anyway. He's about to face the consequences, and there will be a time when he begs me. Jenny turned her emotional pain into motivation and worked day and night in the laboratory every day. Not long after, I sent her abroad for further studies, and Lucas didn't know any of this. Full of ambition, Lucas bought the new land. All his thoughts were on the future of the Lincoln family. After Jenny left, there were still many female friends around him. You see, if there's no first love, there will be new people. The root of the problem has always been with him. I never cared about these things and focused on my career. The more stable the Collins family was, the better Lucas treated me. Now, without me having to step in, he already knows how to maintain my dignity. Outside, we were the most affectionate couple. There were even many netizens who started shipping us, saying that we were the power couple of the wealthy families, and that real couples were so sweet. Regarding this, I can only say that shipping everything will only harm you, but Lucas's favorability towards me only rose to 88 at most. I told you, for someone like Lucas, it's impossible to max out the favorability just through feelings. 3 years after Jenny went for further studies and returned to the country with new achievements, the Lincoln family, finally under Lucas's leadership, was on the road to bankruptcy. Oh dear, it's really sad. The male protagonist of the sadomasochistic novel is going bankrupt. In the plot, the crisis of the Collins family came very quickly, and now, this crisis was being paid for by young Master Lincoln. Sarah's father asked me, "What's your plan? Are you going to break off the engagement or, how can I break off the engagement? Of course, I'm going to help. I worked so hard to set up this situation, break off the engagement. Don't even think about it. Are you ready, Lucas? Your savior is here." When we met again, Lucas looked very tired. I told him that I was willing to take over the mess of the Lincoln family. Lucas was deeply moved. "Jenny, how can I thank you?" "Lucas, I can't help much. At this moment, having someone willing to take over the mess of his family was already a great help." Lucas happily signed a large number of contracts with me. I also bought some shares of the Lincoln family at a price slightly higher than the market price, stabilizing the stock price of the Lincoln family. Many people in the circle said that Miss Collins took over the burden for love and that Lucas was lucky. Only I know how much I've profited. The Lincoln family bought the land for development. They developed half of it, but the capital chain broke, and they had to put it on hold. I also bought it at a friendship price, just like in the plot. It didn't become the new city center, it was still a desolate area with nothing. I overthrew Lucas's original plan and turned this place into a high-end resort center that integrated accommodation, dining, and travel, away from the hustle and bustle of people, with first-class service and top-notch facilities. And most importantly, there were invisible thresholds. I also combined Jenny's new technology here to build a new energy industrial park. Everyone was satisfied, including Lucas. After taking over the mess of the Lincoln family, his favorability towards me finally rose to 95. The system asked me, "What's the host's plan to raise the last 5 points of favorability?" Of course, it's to learn from the enemy's strengths to defeat the enemy. I treated Lucas the way he treated Sarah. I told him that as the president of the Collins family, I had to be responsible for the employees, just like he was to Sarah, since I took the shares and invested the money. I wanted to join the board of directors of the Lincoln family. "Lucas, I plan to merge the Lincoln family with the Collins family." I looked at him sincerely. "You also know that the current situation of the Lincoln family is difficult. If I keep helping you, I'm afraid the directors won't agree." Lucas certainly didn't want to, but he had no choice, bankruptcy or lingering on. He chose to linger on, in name. I still let Lucas manage the business under the Lincoln family. 3 years passed, and he became colleagues with Jenny. Lucas also found out that Jenny was working for me, but he was very good at making assumptions. He thought I was doing it to make him feel at ease, and his favorability towards me increased a bit. In fact, Lucas probably had already sensed something was wrong, but once the arrow was shot, there was no turning back. Now that he had lost everything, he could only deceive himself and tell himself that I loved him. This was the human self-protection mechanism. Just self-deception. Now, I'm Lucas's benefactor. He really has to call me his adoptive mother. With the positions reversed, Lucas's choices were no better than Sarah's. He started to care about the people around me. After arguing with me several times, his favorability towards me actually increased again. There was no way. He couldn't leave me. You see, a person can't be tied down just by love, but they can be by interests. Does Lucas love me? Not necessarily, but he has to. The system asked me what I planned to do with the remaining favorability. Just leave Lucas with no way out. Now he has just lost his company, but he still looks decent. I set up traps in all directions, just to give him one last push. Lucas and his father were taken away for investigation. He would never know that I was the one who had someone report them. The Lincoln family's rise was not clean, and when the wall was about to collapse, everyone gave it a push, watching Lucas being investigated. The system was silent for a long time. It asked me, "When did you start planning this?" From the very beginning. Just making Lucas go bankrupt and then helping him definitely wouldn't be enough. So as soon as I took over the Collins family, I started investigating Lucas and his father. Lucas was very cautious, but where there's a will, there's a way. For my 60 billion, I could make careful plans step by step. Host, you're the scariest human I've ever seen. I'm flattered. In the plot, Lucas was much more ruthless than me. Didn't you see that Sarah lost her life in the end? At least I didn't want his life. Half a month later, Lucas was sentenced to 13 years in prison. When I went to see him, his hair had already been shaved. Through the glass, I let out a soft sigh. "Lucas, there's nothing I can do now. You should reform well inside. I'll take care of the company and your mother for you." Lucas shed tears in front of me for the first time. "Sarah, thank you. I'm sorry for you. I shook my head. Don't say sorry. There's no need for that between us. Lucas's favorability towards me reached its peak a year after he was imprisoned. This was normal. After all, I was his only hope. He would only beautify me infinitely to comfort himself. And all of this, I learned from him, in the world of sadomasochistic novels. A single piece of candy could make the female protagonist devoted. In the end, it's because the female protagonist's world was too bitter. A little bit of sweetness could make her rush forward without hesitation. Now, it was the male protagonist who had gone through all this, and he would also see me as a life-saving straw. See, this is the best way to increase favorability. For a man like Lucas, who always blames others and never reflects on himself, being nice to him is meaningless. Only when he has no way out and can only regard me as his last hope will he love me wholeheartedly, of course. He knows that I might abandon him tomorrow, but he has no choice. He can only beautify me infinitely in his heart. Outside the prison, Jenny was waiting for me in the car. 3 years had passed, and she was becoming more and more like a scholar, thin, serious, with calm and profound eyes behind her silver-rimmed glasses. You're not going to tell me that you're going to wait for Lucas to get out of prison, are you? I smiled. What do you mean by, wait? We'll talk about it when he gets out. It's not like I'll be sitting outside the prison every day. That's true. Jenny talked about the past with me for the first time. Thank you. If it weren't for you, I might still be stuck in the quagmire instead of becoming Dr. Jenny. My experiment was a great success. If nothing unexpected happens, I should be able to win an award. I never actually thought I could come this far. My parents always said since I was a child that what's the use of a woman having a good education, it's better to find a good man and get married. I used to really think so too, but in the past few years, standing at the top by myself, I finally know what true happiness is. If a woman's greatest achievement is just getting married, that would be truly tragic. We looked at each other and smiled. After sorting everything out, I left a letter for Sarah. At the end of the letter, I wrote a sentence for her. Please, time and time again, without hesitation, save yourself from the trials and tribulations of the world. I said my final goodbye to the system. I had done everything I needed to do, and the rest of life would be Sarah's journey. No one is a god who can save you. Climbing the 9,000-step staircase, at the highest point of the temple. There is only one person enshrined. It's yourself. Now, I'm going to enjoy my 60 billion. Please allow me to say, thank you, Lucas. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.